Right, ladies, gents, and everything in between, welcome back to another video on this channel. Today we're discussing the situation at Newcastle United. Now, obviously, on this channel, I didn't do a video on the whole takeover thing, so yeah, I just decided that I'd do a video on the fact that Eddie Howe is now, more than likely going to be the new Newcastle manager. He was at the game last weekend against Brighton at the Amex in that 1-1 draw, and yeah, basically, I'm going to be discussing all about Eddie Howe going to Newcastle, being their next manager, taking them forward in this project, of course, which is a massive project with the money they have behind them now. And yeah, overall, can he keep him in the Premier League this season? And yeah, obviously, can he take them forward if they do that next season and beyond with the money that he will have available at his disposal to improve this squad with? So yeah, let's get straight into it, starting off with my opinion on whether he is a good appointment or not for Newcastle United. Now, in my personal opinion, I think it's a very good appointment, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think that, the first appointment throughout this takeover for Newcastle was going to be very, very important because, in my personal opinion, I think you saw with City when they got taken over, even with my club Chelsea when we got taken over, the first manager of the new regime, you could say, has to be a manager that can build up a squad, build up a project, really, not just bring in this serial manager from day one and just give him what he has, because I'd say it's a much more balanced projection going forward if you have a manager to start off with that is has experience of building clubs forward, like for example Man City with Mark Hughes, then obviously they went on to Mancini who won them trophies. Chelsea with Ranieri, built them up a little bit before Mourinho took in, and obviously won trophies with them as well. And I think Eddie Howe is a very good manager for Newcastle to bring in before they bring in a manager, someone like Conte or even someone like Mourinho, you could say, on his day, to come in and win them trophies with the squad that Eddie Howe does build for them. I think is a very good appointment as well, in the fact that obviously Eddie Howe has done absolute wonders at Bournemouth in the past. I mean, I think it gets massively overlooked to this day, the fact he brought them from League 2 all the way up to the Premier League, and not only did that, but also kept them in the Premier League for 5 seasons as well, and only really went down because of a bad VAR decision, you could say, for Sheffield United against Aston Villa when Neeland went over the line with the ball and it wasn't given because VAR wasn't working or wasn't turned on for the right angle or whatever it was. But yeah, whether they went down fair and square or not, I think that, they only went down by, like, what was it, on goal difference, or even if it wasn't goal difference, it was by the odd point. And yeah, overall, played some very good football in doing so as well. It wasn't like he was just this, hoof-long ball manager and pragmatic manager. He actually played some very good football as well. They play with high energy, they press very high, and yeah, they do like to keep possession of the ball, which I think is something that Newcastle fans will definitely be able to get used to at St James's Park, because for so long they've witnessed absolutely shambolic football with Steve Bruce. And that is one concern I do have for Eddie Howe, especially at the start, is how this squad will be able to adjust to the change in playing style, because under Steve Bruce, they were playing some absolutely horrendous football. They were constantly on the back foot, constantly waiting for teams to react to them, and allowing teams to have the ball against them, and all they were doing really was trying to defend and hopefully hit them on the break with the pace of Saint-Maximin or Callum Wilson up front. But now they're actually going to be on the ball, they're going to be dominating possession at St James's Park, which is something, as I said, that the fans will really be looking forward to under Eddie Howe. And yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I think he will be such a big hit at Newcastle, because of the brand of football he will play, and the fact as well that he sets his teams up as well to play with no fear. You saw them in 15-16 when they came up. They were probably the smallest club to have ever played in the Premier League at that stage, and they came up, they feared no one. They beat Man United, they beat Chelsea, they beat some very big clubs that season, Bournemouth, and yeah, continued to do so throughout the the spell they were in the Premier League for. So I think Eddie Howe is a very, very good appointment on those bases for Newcastle, and I'm really interested to see how players like Alan Saint-Maximin, as I said, and Callum Wilson, and even players like Joe Willock, how they fare at Newcastle, because I think that Saint-Maximin especially has been crying out for a manager like Eddie Howe to play on the front foot and dominate possession, because we've seen from Saint-Maximin, even under Steve Bruce, we've seen flashes of brilliance. He is an unbelievable dribbler, he's a very good chance creator, and he can score goals as well when he wants to as well. So I think that Saint-Maximin playing on the front foot in this Newcastle team can be the integral part of this Newcastle team going forward, and can be the main reason why they stay up this season. As I said, Callum Wilson as well did play under Eddie Howe, of course, for many, many years under Bournemouth. You could argue that Eddie Howe actually made Callum Wilson the player he is today, and yeah, I think he'll definitely get the best out of Callum Wilson if he stays injury free. He can bag 10 to 15 goals this season. He's already doing quite well in goal numbers considering the football they have been playing so far in Newcastle. And obviously players like Ryan Fraser as well, who may well be resurrected under Eddie Howe, because of course Eddie Howe had Ryan Fraser playing some brilliant football, especially in 2018-19 when I think he got second in the assist charts, last to Eden Hazard, with like 15 or 14 assists or something like that, which was absolutely mental at Bournemouth as well. The only thing about that is obviously Ryan Fraser left Bournemouth on really sour terms and basically just left them to rot in a relegation battle because he didn't want to risk being injured, because he was a free agent that summer. So obviously, is the relationship still there with Eddie Howe? We will wait and see. But overall, I think Eddie Howe will be able to put that behind him and try and get the best out of Ryan Fraser in that front three with Saint-Maximin and with Callum Wilson. And Joe Willock as well, as I said, could be a very good integral part of their midfield as well, because he's a midfielder who likes to go forward and, likes to get into the box late and score goals, really. And the next question I have to ask is, will Eddie Howe be able to keep Newcastle in the Premier League? Because at this moment in time, it's not really a given whatsoever. I mean, they're the only team left now, because of Norwich's win against Brentford last night, or at the weekend I should say. Newcastle are the only team left in the Premier League without a victory as we head into the international break in November. And Eddie Howe is going to want to get that win as soon as possible. His first game in charge is against Southampton at home, of course. But it's a 5-point gap between themselves and the outside of the relegation places. I think Eddie Howe should be able to overturn that. Having said that, it will be quite difficult between now and Christmas with the squad he does have, because as I said, they do kind of have a weak squad, Newcastle. They have one of the weakest squads in the Premier League, and they're going to be solely relying on players like Saint-Maximin, Callum Wilson, Joe Willock, even maybe Ryan Fraser, as I said, if he can get resurrected in his career at Newcastle. And then they're also going to be relying on how Eddie Howe sets them up as a defence as well, because Bournemouth, although Eddie Howe did play some very good football with Bournemouth, there was kind of question marks over their defence, so at times as well during his time at Bournemouth, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But once he's given money in January, I think Newcastle will probably end up spending big bucks in January, which is obviously very positive for them. They do need a few players. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few defensive players come in and a few midfielders to obviously balance out the system, and also another striker as well, because Eddie Howe does tend to favour this 4-2-2-2 system, which does mean that he'd probably have to play another striker, that's a bit of a physical presence up next to Callum Wilson. Now obviously you could play Joe Linton there, but I think it's fair to say they need someone better than Joe Linton if they're going to succeed with that two up front formation. So it'll be really interesting to see how he adds to the squad in January, and of course next summer as well, if he does manage to keep them up. I personally think he will keep them up, because I think if he gets a few names in January, I think he'll be able to really put this style of football on the Newcastle players as soon as he possibly can, and get them going, and get them playing some good football, and get them picking up results on a consistent basis as well. So overall, in my personal opinion, I think Eddie Howe is a very, very good appointment for Newcastle, definitely for the situation they're in, and definitely for what they want to be doing, at least in the short term anyway, at this football club. So decent appointment in my opinion. But what do you think about Eddie Howe being appointed as the Newcastle manager? Leave it down in the comment section below, especially if you are a Newcastle fan. I am actually really interested to see a Newcastle fan's perspective on Eddie Howe becoming the new Newcastle United manager. And that's where we're going to leave this video. I think we've covered all the bases here in this video with regards to Eddie Howe and the Newcastle takeover situation at this moment in time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave it a like. It means the absolute world to me in terms of getting this YouTube video up in the YouTube algorithm. And also, if you could subscribe to the channel as well, that would be massively appreciated as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.